Well, welcome back, everybody. I hope you guys are having a phenomenal weekend. As we go ahead and we look, what a great way to end the week there. It's great. Hey, thanks again, by the way, for all of you that joined the live trading room this morning. It was fun to be able to be in there with you, answer a whole bunch of questions for a bunch of our new student family members, and do the live trading on the screen in front of you using the strategies that we teach you all the time. So thanks again for going ahead and being there today with us. So, armed with that information, let's go back to last weekend's video and talk about how did we get here, right? And so how we got here was we were looking at the Russell and the Dow and how they were still very bullish versus the S&P that was weak and the NASDAQ that was very weak. In fact, it was the week of the Wealth 365 Summit that I actually had said, ding dong, the witch is dead. We're going ahead and focusing totally on shorts when we broke down below this area. And that came on the heels of a negative divergence that I identified into that Tuesday of the summit there. So if you go back and watch the videos from when I did my live broadcast of training there in the middle of the summit, for all you have WealthCharts, go back and watch the WealthCharts TV sections on the Summit videos, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So we saw the negative divergence. Well, that negative divergence went ahead and followed through to the downside. So what happened then, we broke down below this area, and so at that point, it was focused strictly on shorts. And it just got worse, and it got worse. Then we ended up crossing down below, like on the TRP, for instance, here. So, and then over here on the S&P, same thing. We got down below champion cross and the champion trend. We were not down below on the TRP crossover yet, but we were skirting that line and we started kind of getting below there finally over here. Then the two that were stronger, so those were the two that were weaker, and then there was the two that were stronger. So we kind of reviewed all this. So go back to last weekend's video and you'll see what I'm talking about there. Well, now we have the Dow and we have the Russell both down below those critical junctures as well. They're below the trend channels, they're below the champion trend, they're below the champion cross. Everything there is, below across all four markets. But on the way down there, right, we had the two strong ones going to meet the short one, the most weakest one. So what did I do? Remember I told you in last weekend's video, if these two come to meet this, that's just going to really exacerbate the selling. Well, guess what? That's what happened, right? And so what a great trading session it made for my live trading in front of the audience, where I did the trading right on the screen in front of them, leaving nothing to be desired and imagined. And we went ahead and also gave all these wonderful opportunities, based on last week. So bringing it back there full circle, what I want to point out going into next week is these two are even weaker, right, on the TRP crossovers, but I still want to point the TRP crossovers on the Dow and the Russell are still strong. So there is a opportunity where this market could have a rebound still. We're going to be watching that. If we start going in selling into Monday, and I don't mean right necessarily at the open, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about after the open. You always watch, sometimes they'll give you exactly what you're looking for into the open and then whip it to the opposite side. But in general, what I'm looking for here is I'd love to see further downside. I just love this. I did show in the live trading room tools that you can use if you're a long side trader only, how you can trade the inverse of these today. Things like the SQQQ as an example. Of course, always you should consult your registered financial representatives and a risk trading plan before ever trading anything. But the an SQQQ, any sort of the inverse ETFs could be potential opportunities as this thing is going down. If you can only go long, look at maybe some of those and consult your registered financial representative. So looking at this though, I would love to just have this continue to die a horrible death. I'm perfectly okay with that because I learned back at the October crash, I learned in 1987. I started learning the markets when I was a teenager there, January of 1987. So I learned very quickly that wow, there's some incredible ways to make money on the downside. So I was really blessed with that opportunity to focus on that. So my career, I've spent just as much time focusing on the shorts as the long, and that's what I did this morning, right? So as we looked into this morning in the live trading room, Of course, the daily chart, as we mentioned, was weak. We talked about Champion Cross. We were weak on the triggers, the ITP triggers. We were weak on the stochastics, which had gone up the other day, and then we're resetting for the short side. The hourly charts were just a bloodbath walking in the door here, as you can see. So there was a lot of red on the board there. And of course, the 5 minutes were red and under pressure, and then the 1 minutes, right? So we have all these different types of trade setups, like the trade resumption, where we push back up into that resistance. When it pops back out, we look for the short, right? We also have things like speed line continuation trades popping back up into the speed lines and how to resume. And we talked about that today in the trading room, because with the wide ranges that are taking place, certain things like stochastics, where we're just looking to take the trade as it's pulling back up, or the speed line continuation, where we look to take the trade as it's pulling back up, we don't look to do that when you're having these wide ranges where you have a 1,200 plus point moves in 2 days, $24,000 plus in contract movement, for instance, on a single contract in the Nasdaq, for instance. So we want to instead, and this doesn't matter whether you're trading stocks, whether you're trading options. This technique and strategy is the same. It's just that if you're trading like an option, you're swing trading the option, we're looking at hourly, 4-hour, daily, or weekly charts depending on your time horizon. But it's all fractal from that perspective. So the normal time speed line continuation trend, let's take the short as it's pulling back in like the slow speed line, and then look for it to come back down. But in this case, when you have such a wide range that it's already gone down, you got to watch out for it spikes back up. So it's better to wait for it to resume. So we talked about the better reentries for resumptions, even on some of our core strategies. And then we got to the point where the market started going up a little bit, and some people are like, well, is this maybe a chance to buy? And it's like, against that daily, against that hourly, against the other stock indices that were coming down, no way. And so sure enough, it turned around, went down viciously against people who bought there over 100 points, $2,000 a contract, right? Then it did it again, went back up. Okay, now's the time to buy. It's like, no, I'm not looking to go long. That's counter trend trading, and that can really end your trading investment aspirations very quickly. So the thing is that, bringing this full circle, we stuck to the trades and the trading strategies and the resumptions, that the kind of things that we're looking for. And so people got to see me do that live on the screen in front of them. But it was all based on the strategy that I laid out for you last week. And I just want to hit that because for all of you that, whether you're a swing trader or whether you're a day trader, these strategies are equally important, to you. And so I kind of wanted to recap, now that we saw what I talked about last weekend, how it followed through, and the two more bullish ones, it went to go sell off. They had the inventory retracement bars up here, so those big distribution bars, and then look out below, right? And so that meant those two came along for what was already weak. So getting into those weak trades just exacerbated that even more, and that made for a lot of fun as people got to watch, in the trading room this morning. So I hope that makes a lot of sense to everybody here. And so now going into next week, what I'm looking for, my preferred trades of choice would be to continue the sell side. But because I just want to make sure everybody sees this, because we have the real strength still in the TRP crossovers on those two previously strong instruments, there is that possibility that we can get the whipsaws back up. So I will keep an eye on that, see if we can do that. If it just goes up for a day or so and then starts to roll back over, well, that would be dandy as well, right? Give people who bought up here and everything else hope that it's going to turn around back to the upside. I won't really be looking for long side trades until we can really get the Nasdaq and the S&P back to bullish on the TRP crossover, and we can get back up like above the champion trend and champion cross, for instance, on some of these different instruments here, so that everything kind of gets back to right that ship. Statistically, there's just too much risk, in that perspective. And so I'll be focusing very heavily on, what's happening on these hourly charts, what's happening on these daily charts going into next week. But like I said, we've got some real work to do to be really focusing on longs. I'm not trying to catch a falling knife here. I prefer the market maybe has a brief pullback to the upside and then roll over and die a horrible death again. that would be my favorite. And I'll try to give you an update in a video next week there if I can as well. Okay? So, but otherwise, stay tuned to our WealthCharts broadcasts and live trading room broadcasts and different things like that. All right? You guys have a great rest of your weekend. Keep shoring up on those different strategies. And remember, inside of WealthCharts TV, there's a bunch of different strategy videos to catch up on some of these different types of strategies that I'm talking to you about now. And then, of course, for the overall market strategy as a whole, keep tuned to these videos like you're watching right now. Have a great rest of the weekend, gang. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye for now.